Welcome to Grapple Arts Radio.
Hi everyone, it's Stephan Kesting from grapplearts.com. Today on the podcast, I'm talking to Roxanne Modaferri, who is, I hesitate to say, a pioneer in women's MMA, because whenever you say pioneer, it implies that, back in the ancient days, this person was fighting. But she's still fighting. She's still a force in today's MMA scene. She's still getting better. And so it's a really interesting opportunity for us to get a sense of somebody who was there early and has watched the whole thing evolve. So I think it's going to be a really interesting discussion. So first of all, hello, Roxanne. How are you doing?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm very pleased to be having this chat. So you're in Vegas right now, is that right?
Yes, I've been living in Vegas for almost 2 years now.
Okay. Was that ever since The Ultimate Fighter?
Yes, after The Ultimate Fighter, I quit my job in Japan and I moved to Vegas like 2 months later.
Okay. So let's take you through. You're not from Vegas originally. You're not from Japan originally, not with an Italian name like that. So you're Boston area?
I was born in Delaware and grew up in Pennsylvania and went to high school and college in Massachusetts.
Okay. So the globe-trotting lifestyle.
Exactly.
Well, I guess it's mixed martial arts, so you've gone from the fighting city of Boston to the new mecca of MMA in Vegas. What was your first experience with martial arts in general? It wasn't MMA directly.
Right. As a teenager, I started Taekwondo because I thought it was cool and it looked fun. And then I wanted to try all different kinds of martial arts like Kempo. Then I wanted to try Judo and I did Jiu-Jitsu. And by that time, I was in high school and college. And I wanted to put it all together and have the ultimate challenge with mixed martial arts, ultimate fighting.
So what was your first experience of mixed martial arts as opposed to sort of training Taekwondo by itself and training Judo by itself and training these arts individually?
Mm-hmm. My Brazilian jiu-jitsu friends introduced me to the UFC. They said, "Hey, come over our house. The UFC's on. Let's watch it." And so I got to see it for the first time.
Okay. And do you remember what your impression was the first time?
Yeah, I thought it was violent and scary, and oh man, I could never do something like that.
Then, okay, so you go from seeing it as violent and scary and never wanted to do something like that to a fairly short time after that, actually sort of dipping your toe in the water. So what was the transition there?
Well, I'd seen the fights and people were like dripping blood and had their teeth knocked out. And when I practiced it didn't really seem so bad. Okay. So I kind of slowly, eased into it in practice. And I had my first few fights in Japan and the rules were a little different. We had these big puffy gloves. Like I don't even know what ounce they were, probably 6 or 7 or something like that. And limited ground rules. You could not do ground and pound. So I kind of got raised up a little easier than nowadays.
So progressive desensitization.
Right.
Okay, so that was Smack Girl and those promotions, yes? Mm-hmm. Okay. So then we know the rules were different. Was the experience of fighting MMA, such as it was in Japan, different from the experience of fighting here? Or was it just a different stage of your career, so you can't really compare then to now, or that experience to now?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to compare. Just my ability to focus is so much better now. The crowd is different, but I kind of really never noticed the crowd anyway.
Mm-hmm. Well, what brought you to Japan? Was it MMA or was it your studies?
It was my studies. I've always wanted to be fluent in a second language, and I loved the culture and anime, so I chose Japanese. And I went to Japan to become more fluent, but it's really hard to study Japanese when you're teaching full-time and you're trying to fight. So I ended up just not pursuing a career in translation as I wanted to, and I just kept teaching English. But I enjoyed that.
So you were paying the bills by teaching English and then training at Japanese gyms by night?
Correct.
Okay. So what was it? Obviously, you've been at the MMA game for a long time, and it's a different country, and it's a different era of MMA, and it's a different rule set of MMA. But what was training MMA in Japan like in that era? what did a class look like? You show up and you do what?
Let's see. I've joined a few different gyms. In my first gym, there was the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu class, and then once a week we had the no-gi grappling class, and then there was kickboxing class. So you basically did all of that, and then you fought. So we never really trained MMA. We never trained the scrambles. We never trained the wall or cage work or anything like that. That was when I first debuted in like 2003. Okay.
So you trained all the arts individually, and you never sort of you never trained MMA in the sense of sparring with the different ranges and transitioning from standing to ground. Wow.
That's correct. Then in 2005, when I graduated from college and I moved, I joined Keishukai, and that's primarily a grappling gym. So we did a lot of no-gi grappling, and we, we did mostly no gloves. Sometimes we put on the MMA gloves and we did some ground and pound. But it was really packed, so we couldn't really stand up and do like kickboxing to takedowns. We never did that, really. Well, sometimes we did that. It was very mixed, tended to be more ground oriented. I think there was kickboxing, but I worked, so I couldn't go to the kickboxing classes. And then that was like 2007 through 10-ish. Then I switched gyms again, and they did do more sparring, where they do like small glove sparring, which I actually didn't really like because they were going really hard with the small gloves, and I thought like, gee, like shouldn't they be going more softly with the, like I didn't know that you're not really supposed to do that. Like now in Syndicate MMA in America, we do like the kickboxing days with takedowns. So we do like hard kickboxing with shots and wrestling shots, and then you get back up. Or you do super light with the little gloves, and then you shoot and go grappling as hard as you can. So it's like you still get the MMA experience, but you like strategically place your takedowns to, where it needs to be.
So the odds of catastrophic injury are lessened a little bit.
Right.
Okay. So then you.
I can see the evolution there.
I suppose so. So there you are in Japan, and you're not really training much of the transitions, and you also sounds like you weren't training that much of the kickboxing initially, but they were just happy to send you off and fight in a ring and see what happened. And
yep.
Okay.
And I did pretty decently too.
You did.
I do admit that my kickboxing was not that great. Maybe other people's sprawls were not that great, so I was able to do my thing and get people down. Nowadays, I think the level of competition is higher.
I suppose that's one redeeming thing, is that other people were also training that way at the time. People didn't really know better. It'd be interesting to see if those gyms in Japan have changed their strategies for teaching people now. Do you have any sense of whether that's true or not?
I know that the last gym I went to has done that. They do have, of course, the grappling and then the kickboxing and then the pro training. That's what it is. Like the everyday guy does the separate classes, and then only the pros really do the MMA training, where they do like wall work and cage work. So they have evolved to doing that, but it's more like for pros, not for like the average guy.
Okay. Well, I got to say, your striking in recent fights has looked really very sharp. I mean, it doesn't look like somebody who's kind of figured it out on their own. So obviously you've done a lot of developmental work on your striking in the last few years. Would that be correct to say?
Thank you. Yeah, you actually hit the nail right on the head. I'm not good at figuring stuff out by myself. Japanese style is like, just try it and see what happens, but I need somebody to spell it out for me, every little thing, every little iota of detail. And John Wood, my coach at Syndicate, is very good at that. So basically I do 2 private sessions a week for just kickboxing for MMA with him. And that basically is what taught me how to kickbox for MMA.
Okay. Well, I guess it was coming on top of a base of you having tried to figure it out for years on your own. So it's not like you were starting from zero.
I felt almost like it, but really? Yeah, I guess it wasn't complete zero.
Okay. Well, I mean, I guess when the student is ready, the teacher will appear, and that happened in this case here. You were ready to make that jump. Now, one thing that's interesting to me is, so now you've been doing this extra work on striking, but there's only a certain number of hours in the day and a certain amount of energy in the bank. So have you found that other aspects of your game have suffered as you've focused on the striking more?
I think so, actually. I feel like I forget certain like Brazilian jiu-jitsu techniques because I've been prioritizing no-gi grappling over jiu-jitsu. So like someone asked me to show them like I forget what kind of choke it was, and I'm like, I forget how to do that. And I'm a purple belt, like I should know that choke, but I just forgot like how to grip. And some other things, like if you showed me, I could probably do it really fast, but it's yeah, I wish I had more time in the day to keep myself sharp in all aspects.
Well, there are only so many hours in the day and only so many hours that you can put your body through the grind. So what does your last week look like? I'm always interested in, you talk to fighters and you ask, what do you do? Oh, I kickbox, I do this, I do that. But then you ask specifically and you get some really interesting answers. So what did you do yesterday, and what did you do the day before that?
Yesterday was Saturday. There was the jiu-jitsu class, which I skipped because my back hurt. And then I did the kickboxing sparring from like noon to 1 o'clock. So we just did the big gloves and shin pads and just beat each other up. So that was fun. Okay. And I accomplished some stuff I'm really happy with. I landed some combinations I've been working. And Thursday was the other day that I trained. I skipped Friday. We did MMA sparring, so we did like 20 minutes of drills and warm-ups. I think just various combinations, level changes, like jab, straight, level change, fake the takedown, come back up, hook, stuff like that.
Okay.
And then we did the rest of the class MMA sparring. So that's kind of go like maybe 60% strength with the punches and then explode with the takedowns and do like ground and pounds and stuff.
Okay. So do you train, how many times a day do you train? Well, take us through your training week. Let's start on a Monday. Let's jump back. We're doing this on a Sunday. What are you going to be doing tomorrow?
Tomorrow I have mitts with John, my private training with John from, for an hour, a little less than an hour, usually 40 minutes. Then I have a half an hour break, and then I do team practice. That's usually, it's MMA with a grappling base. So I'm not sure what it'll have us do, maybe wall takedowns, or lately we've been doing like side control stuff. And then usually I'm pretty tired, so I'll probably just take the rest of the day off on Monday. Tuesday is kickboxing sparring. I usually do jiu-jitsu in the morning. My teacher is in Russia now, so I probably won't do that. Wednesday is mitts. Sometimes I do strength training on Tuesday night. Wednesday is mitts and yoga, and that's it because I'm usually really tired. I try to take split days off. I don't like taking 2 days off in a row because I start feeling like my metabolism goes down fat. So I usually go light on Sunday and Wednesday. Those are my light days. Okay. Thursday is just MMA sparring. I just do one that day. It's pretty hard. Friday I usually do team. Sometimes I'm really tired and I just do yoga and like stairs. I try to do stairs at least twice a week. So
for conditioning, like you're in an ideal week, you're running stairs a couple times a week and lifting weights once a week?
About like that, yeah.
Okay. Well, it's interesting to hear you talk because you're always emphasizing, if I'm not too tired, I do this. If I'm not too tired, I do that. I'll take a day off. So it sounds like with experience, you've really learned to not overtrain or not overtrain too badly, and you're okay with taking time off if you need it.
You could probably hear it in my voice. I don't regret it, but it's too bad because I used to be able to train like so much more, but I find that just over time, like I have so many nagging injuries that I'm not really tired, actually. I say tired, but I'm not really tired. It's like stuff hurts. Right. So what I should rephrase to say is if stuff doesn't hurt, I'll do this because I'm not really like energy tired. My energy is fine.
What was it Indiana Jones said about it? It's not the years, it's the mileage.
Yes, exactly. I say that all the time.
Okay. Yeah. So then what other things do you do for injury management? I'm guessing the yoga is partially for the injury management aspect of it.
Yeah, I have a bad back, but after I started doing yoga, oh man, it feels so much better.
Oh, good.
So I do yoga, I do ice baths. Usually
Ooh,
after Monday and Thursday's practice, I go
hardcore.
home and I jump in an ice bath.
It's a mental conditioning practice.
Oh, it sucks. I have to put like some rock music on and
Mhm.
I time myself for like 5 minutes and I jump out.
And you find it helps, the ice bath? I thought I saw some evidence or some research saying that the evidence wasn't really clear that it helped. But if you think it helps you, then that's all that really matters.
Yeah, I've read that too. No, I feel like it helps. I feel like I'm able to, it makes me just a little less sore, my body. So I like it. I mean, I don't like it, but I do it.
Able to able to stand up out of a chair now, check. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Um, so you talked about the training in Japan, you've talked about the training with Syndicate. So they've obviously started merging the ranges and merging the standing with the ground and the striking with the clinching and the clinching with
Mhm.
the breaking distance and hitting. Is that this is all recent stuff. I don't think people realize this that, 10, 15 years ago this stuff just did not exist.
Yeah.
It so where did they learn it? Or is this all the stuff that they've figured out in the last 10 years?
That's a good question. I came back to America and boom, here it was. That's my perception.
So you came back to America to do The Ultimate Fighter, or was that just at the same time? Did you come back to America in order to appear on The Ultimate Fighter?
That's correct. I'd planned to stay in Japan for a really long time until I got older, and then I got the opportunity to come back and train in America for The Ultimate Fighter. And I thought my training in Japan was good enough, and then I trained in America, and I'm like, gee, like, this is really, I don't know a lot of this stuff. This is really good. This way that they're doing this, so I decided that I had to come back.
Okay. I don't want to dwell entirely on the Ultimate Fighter show, but certainly that did help catapult you into public consciousness. So what was the audition process for that show like? Did you just hear about it and apply online and then get called, or how does that work?
They were open auditions, so you just showed up and signed your name, and then did your stuff in front of the matchmakers and Dana White. I heard about it on Twitter when someone said, "Hey Roxanne, are you going to the tryouts for Tough?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And then I started researching it, and there you go.
What kind of stuff were you doing in front of the match? Or are you allowed to talk about this now, or is this all still under 12 seals of secrecy?
Oh, there were pretty tough seals, but I can talk about it now.
Okay.
So the first stage is the grappling stage. So we have 2 minutes and we have to grapple anybody that they tell us to go against. And it doesn't matter what you do, you just have to look impressive. Obviously you want to win. And I think I tapped the girl out like twice. Okay. So it looked good. Then whoever, I think it was Sean Shelby or somebody said, okay, whoever's names we read can go on to the next stage. Everyone else, sorry, bye. And I got called, and then we do kickboxing. So somebody that they hired holds mitts for us for like 2 minutes, and that's just to make sure that we can throw a punch, really. Mm-hmm. And then the same thing. Whoever's names are called, go sit out over there. You're next. Anyone else, bye. And then the third one was the interview. So you sat in a semi-dark room with the producer of the show, and he asked you a bunch of questions. And some of them were like, he grilled you, like he tried to get you mad. Or like, I remember he asked Tara, like, so what happened? You lost your last fight. What's wrong with you? Or something like that. My friend Tara. Yeah. But he didn't do that with me. He kind of like didn't know what to make of me, I guess. Like, because I came in like, hi, my name's Roxanne. I'm the happy warrior. He's like, why are you so happy? So I guess he liked me. Yeah.
Well, I suppose they just want to make sure that you have some kind of telegenic presence, that you don't start rocking back and forth in a fetal position as soon as the cameras are on you.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Okay. And so then that's it? So there's the grappling, the striking, and the interview component?
Yep. And then we went home. And, we had to do like blood tests and medical exams. And then we waited like 3 weeks back on our home. I went back to Japan, worked, and waited every day for that email to tell me if I got chosen or not. And then I went.
Okay. So now you're living in a house with a bunch of other people, and you seem like a fairly friendly person, so you wouldn't be walking around the whole time with a scowl on your face. But how do you square the difference, or how do you live with sort of fighting your friends? Essentially, is what I'm trying to get at. You're living there, you're friends with these people, and then you got to go punch them in the face on short notice. How does that work?
At that point, I had fought like a good 20 times, and I fought my friend Tara LaRosa like twice.
Mm-hmm.
So I was kind of used to fighting people I was friendly with. So it didn't really bother me that much. But it's definitely something you have to get used to. Like, a lot of people were weirded out by it and didn't like it. But honestly, I don't think I would have wanted to fight Jessamine Duke. Like, I think anyone else I would have had no problem, but like, she and I got really close during the series, and when you fight somebody, you have to step on somebody's dream to reach your own.
Right.
So I really didn't want to step on her dream.
Okay. But I guess
so it's not easy.
But having the experience of it sort of almost being another day at the office, must have made that easier, as you pointed out.
Yeah, my experience helped.
Okay. Was that the first time that you had ever been allowed to sort of train and only focus on training?
Yeah.
Okay. Because all the other time you were working a part-time or a full-time job.
Yeah, full-time. Before that, it was college.
Okay. So which is another full-time job.
Right.
What are you doing now? Are you training full-time, or how do you pay work? Do you work a bit to pay the bills, or how do you juggle priorities now?
Yes. I am happy that I don't have to get a part-time job right now. When I was working, I tried not to go on vacation. I tried not to take trips. I tried to be super frugal because I thought maybe the day would come when I would have to, just go full time and just support myself through fighting. So I kind of kept that in mind with my spending habits. And thanks to that, I have some money in the bank that I'm basically living off right now. So I'm just training, and I do private lessons now and then.
Okay.
It doesn't pay my bills all the way, but a combination of smart spending and private lessons pays my bills. And when I fight.
So even though you live in Vegas, you're not out at the casinos every night and putting it all on black.
Oh man, no.
So what is it about Vegas that makes it such a mecca for MMA fighters? I would think that there'd be so many distractions there that it'd be hard to focus on training, but it seems that there are an awful lot of MMA guys and girls training and fighting out of Vegas.
Yeah, Vegas can be very overwhelming, and I think when everybody goes to Vegas, everybody goes to the Strip and does that, and then after like 3 days, you're done. Like, me too. Like, I walked around like, all right, 3 days, I'm done. I want to get out of here. So we locals live away from the Strip. I live a good 10 minutes, 15 minutes away from the Strip. We can find everything we need. Just walk down the street and go to the grocery store. Like, stuff is super accessible here. And it's really cool. So there are a lot of different gyms, a lot of different fight shops. I can basically get anything I need. It reminds me of Japan, actually, because like Tokyo, because I can just go and get anything I need. And there are a lot of shows. So it's pretty fun. Like, I go to the Strip for shows, and that's it.
Okay. Well, let's talk a little bit about getting ready for a fight. So you've got a fight 6 weeks out from now. How much weight are you typically cutting before you, in the process of getting ready for a fight?
I usually walk around at like 142, and I fight at 125. So I try to diet down to 135. So I only have to cut like 10 pounds of water and food, the last week. So 5, 6, that's about 7 pounds of fat that I try to diet off.
Okay. Do you find that other girls that you might be fighting are cutting a lot more weight than that?
I think so.
Okay. How are they managing to do that? Or what price are they paying that you are not in order to do that?
When you find out, please let me know. Man, I know my last opponent didn't make weight, and like...
That must be so frustrating for you.
I was shocked because she's shorter than me. Like, what was she doing all day on the weight? I don't know. I don't want to judge anybody, but you kind of can judge because we have an agreement that we have to be the same weight.
Yeah.
So if you can't, like, I think people are missing weight nowadays for several reasons. One is that they're trying to fight in a weight class that's too low for them just to like get the advantage,
Mm-hmm.
And another one is that they're just not willing to diet enough, like they're trying to do like just barely making it, It's like, come on, just like eat a little less for a few days and have no problem, like don't stress out making the weight, that's what I feel.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have any, unless it's like a last minute fight, I don't have any sympathy for that.
And what about rehydrating? Or do you have any tricks for that? Or are those super secret ninja proprietary tricks?
No, I just try to have food with sodium in it, and I drink, coconut water, and I try to not gorge myself. I try to space out my food and water and stuff.
Okay. What about dealing with nerves? Are you a nervous fighter, or did you used to be a nervous fighter?
I used to be, mentally a little anxious. I used to be more nervous. Now my brain has calmed down, but my stomach knows. So like the morning I wake up, I feel like, oh, I'm so calm. My stomach's like, you're not calm. Go to the bathroom now. Oh, it sucks. I get a nervous stomach.
Okay.
But mentally, I just keep reminding myself and that, my coach does too, that I've done all the work. I'm strong, I have everything I need to have to win. And I just keep repeating the techniques and the combinations in my brain. And I just keep visualizing myself doing the various combinations.
Okay.
And that's how I think about it.
Did you in your first couple of fights, how nervous were you back in Japan?
Pretty nervous.
Pretty nervous. Where did you find that it changed somewhat from nervous brain to nervous stomach?
Not really sure. It was gradual, very gradual thing. I used to like be obsessed, like even in class, I couldn't think of anything but my fight. But it, just gradually over experience, it kind of got a little easier. But still, like, I start feeling weird if I think about it during the fight day. I have to like distract myself and do something like watch a movie or whatever.
So that's your pre-fight ritual, watching a movie or just hanging out with friends?
It's usually going for a walk with my coach or going to a coffee shop.
Okay. And then how long before the fight do you start warming up and getting in the zone and starting listening to death metal, satanic death metal music or whatever else the happy warrior needs to get in the proper mind state to hit people in the face?
Yeah, I have two phases. The first phase is like right when I get there, I want to change my clothes and do an initial warm up and stretch. And then after that, I'll relax until about like half an hour before my fight. And then I'll do a second warm up with my coach to break another sweat and do like techniques and stuff.
You don't actually listen to satanic death metal to get ready for a fight?
I don't,
okay.
No. I usually listen to anime battle soundtracks.
Okay. Well, the happy warrior, there you go.
Yes.
I think we have to talk about your 6-fight losing streak there that you snapped with a victory over Tara La Rosa. And there's not a lot of fighters that come back from that, but you have. So how did you do it? I think a lot of people out there are really interested in that, turning that corner, maybe not even in an MMA context, maybe in a jiu-jitsu competition context, or even just, being ready to, or becoming extremely frustrated with any activity that they're doing where they're not having the public recognition or, the public reward of winning. So how did you turn that around?
Right. Well, after every loss, I tried to make some kind of change after every one of my losses. So I tried to change my striking coach. I tried to change my gym. I tried to change my diet, my weight class. Like I changed a lot of different things. And the same with this, I lost to Raquel Pennington, but at that point I had joined Syndicate, and I knew that, well, I hoped that if I could just keep training with John, he was really teaching me some amazing striking stuff. And I believed that, if I just kept training with him, he was the change that would put my career back on the right path. And it was true. I think training with him and at Syndicate was the change that I needed. Okay. So for people in general, just keep trying to make a change until it's not worth it anymore,
Right. So it's not just keeping on going and doing the same thing. It's keeping on going and trying to make changes to improve on the most likely culprit of what it was that caused the failure.
Exactly.
Okay. What kept you going mentally? Like that's also requires some incredible mental toughness uh, to keep going under situations like that.
Yeah, I felt like I had the potential to do it, but I just there wasn't something there that was letting me do it. I think I sensed that I could get better at striking, but I just didn't know how. I needed better coaching, and I felt like, man, I love MMA. Like, I love it so much. My body hurts every day when I train, but I love it, and I'm getting better. It's just so exciting to do something you love. Um, so I just kept trying to have faith that the next change that I made would help me win.
Okay. Well, I'm sure that determination and grit will serve you well, not only in MMA, but in whatever you decide to do after MMA. What is after MMA? Is it coaching or moving back to Japan, and or what are your plans, or have you even thought about that?
Yeah, I'm honestly trying not to think about it because I think that
You want to be
things
here in
are
the moment.
so interesting and they change so fast nowadays. Like, who knows if I'll get a movie offer, or who knows if, I'll get a coaching position, or just way too early to tell. So I'm just trying not to think about it.
Okay. Um, what's changing in the? Give me some examples of what's changing in the women's MMA division. I mean, you've got your finger on the pulse more so than anybody else. Uh, what are some of the things that you've seen change in the last little while, and what do you think are going to be some of the next big changes?
I think just females are being taken as seriously as the men now, and we're having just as much personal training and just as much coaching as the guys are. You have to build fighters, and I used to just go to class and then fight. I never really had anybody train me. That's something that changed along the years. So I think now, like, female fighters who want to fight are being brought up very well. So I think that the female fighter level is, getting as good as the guys because the training is as good.
Well, I
That's
think
what I
there's
think.
also the fan enthusiasm for it as well, which of course translates to dollars and eyeballs.
Right.
And so it's kind of interesting. It was always seen as, this, I wouldn't say trailer park activity, but kind of uh, a thing that would appeal to, guys drinking beers in the trailer park. And now you've got an appreciation for women who are fighting at a very high level. And it doesn't really fit the stereotype of who the original MMA fan might have been. I remember going to the fights in the 90s, and there were very much two camps of people watching the fight. The first would be the trailer park crowd, and then the rest would be the hardcore jiu-jitsu crowd who
Yeah.
who would notice, oh my God, the foot position changed from here to there, and they'd go nuts. And then the guys would stand and punch each other in the face, and the trailer park guys would go nuts.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
It's a more educated fan base, I suppose.
Yeah, that's true.
But, okay. What are you getting ready for now? Do you have a fight coming up, or are you in just in not cruising mode, but training mode?
There's an Invicta in July, and I really, really, really want to fight on it, but I haven't gotten an offer yet. So
Okay.
I really hope that, Julie and Shannon Knapp make me an offer to fight.
Okay. Um, can you only fight with Invicta, or do you have an exclusive contract with them, or are you entertaining offers from other organizations as well?
Um, it depends, but I think Invicta is, the biggest one out there right now, one of the biggest ones, and they treat me very well, so I'm with them for now.
Okay. Anyone in particular that you would like to test your skills against?
Yeah, I want to rematch Takayo Hashi. I think she's busy in the next few months though, but eventually I'd like to fight her again. I fought her in Japan, and she's my former training partner, so it was very important for me to show that I could beat her. But I went into it with a knee injury, so like I lost by decision. But I wasn't satisfied if it was my ability or if it was my knee injury that made me lose. So I want a rematch.
Yeah. There must be
Also,
clarity.
Barb Honchak, she's the champion. Someday I want to face her again.
Okay. and try out the new improved Roxy technology.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's something that I'd be really interested in seeing as well. It sounds like you're still making great strides, and it's kind of unusual. I mean, when you think of it, like somebody's been playing professional level baseball for 12 years, isn't out there getting all excited about, hey, I learned a new swing today.
Yeah.
It's the same swing, and whereas you're still learning new stuff that you're excited about, trying in sparring and maybe trying in a match.
Yeah, that's true.
It's kind of a cool sport that can allow you to still be learning after so long a period of training and competing at a really high level. So just before we go, what's the last cool thing that you've learned that you're looking forward to try out? There must be some combination that you've got filed away.
Yeah, I'm just thinking if I should reveal it or not.
Okay, well then you can go back in time. Give us an example of something that you learned that you got really excited about that you pulled off in a fight, so that we can go back and look at that fight and see it being used.
Let's see. When I fought Andrea Lee, I did this like hip bump thing where I got an underhook while I was pushing her against the cage, and I got an underhook and I got my weight under hers and I put my leg closest to the cage under her and I like bumped her up, so like it pushed one of her legs. It made her stand on one leg, and I kind of threw her that way.
It was sort of
so like it was a way to throw her against a cage
thing, kind of.
What was that?
An Uchimata kind of thing. It's just without the leg coming up.
Sort of. It was some cage work throw that I did successfully. It was pretty cool.
Okay. I know I said that was the last thing, but I lied. So you're a brown belt in judo, is that right?
Yes.
How did you find transmitting the judo technology across to the MMA technology? Or was it just the experience of being there and struggling with someone limb to limb in a standing context that helped, even if you don't use the specific techniques?
I actually feel like I gave up most of my judo in MMA because for the throws, you're turning your back. Mm-hmm. And I've never been able to pull it off. I know Rhonda pulls it off. That's pretty amazing. I can't pull it off. Mm-hmm. So I tend to get judo when I'm against the cage. Then I'm able to do foot sweeps and stuff. So I would say that I do judo against the cage. Okay. Because I can pin them there and it's harder for them to take my back and stuff.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with me today and chatting, and good luck pulling off that super secret technique.
Oh, it's an honor. Thanks for having me.
You're flying backflip Superman off the cage, because clearly that's what it is.
Of course.
Yeah, I can see right through it. And I know that both myself and the Grapple Arts readership and listenership will be watching your career with great interest.
Thank you.
Okay.
Jiu-jitsu for the win. Yay.
Podcast listeners, if you're listening, there's a good chance that you're into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I hope that you are. It's the best martial art out there. But nevertheless, if you do Jiu-Jitsu, if you do grappling, if you do MMA, I've got a book out there. It's called A Roadmap to BJJ, and it covers the fundamentals of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. It covers the techniques and the positions. It's got checklists. It's a super useful resource, and it's completely free. If you go to grapplearts.com/book, you can download it. It's also on Amazon Kindle where you can buy it if you want to go that way, but I'm going to suggest the free route, which is grapplearts.com/book. Check it out. I get feedback almost every day from people who found this super useful in finally getting through and understanding the ground game, and it finally making sense for them, and it finally not being so intimidating anymore. Check it out. I think you'll find it really useful too.
Wow.